Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Know Thy Enemy, presented as always by the Right Way Sports Network. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. The Bengals are coming off a big upset win over the Steelers on Thursday Night Football and get a little mini bye before they take on the New York Jets. Some new life has been breathed back into the Bengals offense this week. Joe Flacco and Jamar Chase just absolutely went bananas to everyone's great pleasure against the Steelers. I mean, just could not be anyone better to do that against than the Steelers. So looking ahead at their next test that they have, the Jets are coming to town. And overall in the season, the Jets have obviously, as an 0-17, been not great. 29th in EPA per play, 25th in overall success rate, 30th in dropback EPA, and 21st in rush EPA. And lastly, 16th in rush success rate on offense. So overall, not been great. And a lot of that has had to do with offensive coordinator struggles, with trying to figure out some of the other areas of the offense that weren't Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, as well as the struggles of Justin Fields, who currently sits 32nd among quarterbacks in EPA per play, 23rd in success rate, and has a 1.5% below completion of expectation. So completing less than he is expected to from an average NFL quarterback. That's really kind of hampered them, as well as their defense, which has started to kind of play a little bit better in the last couple weeks. Garrett Wilson is doing his darndest, and despite the off-target throws and the constant short drives that the Jets have had to deal with, Garrett Wilson is still 16th in yards per out run and 12th in passer rating when targeted. He does also have the 7th highest drop rate this season, so something to keep an eye on going forward. Also, as well as his knee issue that's been seemingly bothering him. He's listed currently, I think, as day-to-day. We'll see if he suits up against the Bengals. If not, that is going to be a huge area of concern for the Jets offense, mostly considering that outside of Garrett Wilson, it is a lot of question marks at the wide receiver position. Obviously, Josh Reynolds is a solid veteran presence, but he's probably never the guy you want to be your number one or even maybe number two wide receiver at this point in his career. You have a rookie in Arian Smith who just has a lot of growing to do, has a lot of physical potential, but a lot of growing to do yet. And Tyler Johnson, who's a backup, and Alan Lazard, who has been putrid for a couple of years now. It's going to make life really difficult if Garrett Wilson has to miss this game. And the Jets, along with likely Tyrod Taylor, have to rely on a receiving core of those aforementioned guys. Looking at the offensive line, the starting offensive guards and offensive tackles have each allowed 3 sacks and each have 3 penalties as well or more. I think, yeah, some of that could be contributed to Justin Fields a little bit. Movement in the pocket, failure to have good pocket presence and feel, and also just the nature of blocking for a lot of these mobile quarterbacks. Sometimes you're blocking as a tackle or as a guard for a set drop depth, and when your quarterback starts to drift in the pocket or tends to roll out your way and you're not ready for that, you lose leverage against the defender who has their eyes on the quarterback, right? So I hesitate to bash them too much, but I do want to highlight a bright spot in rookie offensive tackle Armand Membou, who currently leads the team with a 69.5 pass block grade, as well as leading the team with a 74.0 run block grade. So at the very least, for Jets fans, you can be excited that your offensive tackle of the future does look like a solid pick so far. Obviously, Breece Hall is another kind of engine of this offense that has helped it chug along and manage to be as quote unquote successful as it has been. He's averaging 4.5 yards per attempt, which is 15th, 3.2 yards after contact, which is 16th. And he has 14 runs of 10 plus yards, which ranks 4th among running backs. He's also 10th in yards per route run. It is kind of confusing to see him with just 21 targets. Comparatively, I let's not use Christian McCaffrey because he has like 60 targets, but like Bijan has 40 targets. He's got a lot. Chase Brown, who I would argue is not the most involved in the passing game among running backs in the NFL, as Bengals fans know, he still has 28 targets. So just kind of interesting to see that Breece Hall has not had as much involvement in the pass game to start the season. Maybe you see that with Tyrod Taylor changing, and maybe he is better at finding the check down option, so to speak, than Justin Fields was. Looking at the defense, who I brought up earlier, overall in the season, 27th in EPA per play, 29th in dropback EPA. However, they are 4th in success rate, 7th in dropback success rate, and 6th in rushing success rate. Despite having struggled against different teams, a lot of this has been good play-to-play, down-to-down consistency with a bad coverage, blown coverage that leads to a touchdown, with a big explosive play that was allowed. I believe they've allowed 36 explosive plays on the ground and through the air this season. So down to down, they've been doing a good job of holding offenses to the yardage expected or below. But then there's that one play that they give up, or they keep getting put in bad positions by the offense. There's a variety of reasons that you get that big disparity between EPA per play and having a low EPA per play and a very high success rate. Particularly over the last 2 weeks, the Jets defense has done a lot better. And I think part of that is they have gotten less blitz happy and they've played a lot more of kind of the early Lou Anarumo Bengals style of bend don't break, where they will drop into coverage and then they'll blitz on third down to try and generate some pressure. And that's how they've tried to attack quarterbacks. And they've had a lot more success and a lot fewer blown coverages. So we will see if they continue with that kind of method of operation and against the Bengals, but it has so far yielded them some success. Sauce Gardner is obviously a mainstay, Cincinnati Bearcat legend, shout out. Currently sitting among quarterbacks, 13 in PFF grade, 4th in run defense grade. Just been stellar again. Hasn't been tested too much. Without DJ Reed across from him, the secondary has kind of struggled to find consistency in coverage. We'll see if they can kind of figure that out as they start to cycle in some of their younger guys, like Malachi Moore at safety, is one guy who's going to be starting to get more run and has maybe had a little bit of early struggles, as you would expect from a rookie safety. But as a younger guy, he's definitely going to be one of those guys who gets more playing time. And maybe they can find someone along that cornerback room in the second half of the season that can give them a little bit more stability. On the defensive line, Quentin Williams, number 1 in run defense grade, number 1 in defensive stops, 17 pressures and 1 sack. That's all among interior defenders. He's just still been awesome. Still arguably the best run defender in the league from the interior. So just kicking ass. Bengals are going to have a hard time running up the gut, as they do always. We'll have to really try to get outside and avoid him, or at least have a plan for him. Do not want to leave that guy unblocked when you're in the red zone. Will McDonald on the edge has generated a lot of pressure, 15 pressures, 2 sacks, but he also has 5 missed tackles and a 31.3 missed tackle rate this season. So finding trouble being consistent in the run game and also just trying to finish plays, let's say. I want to give a shout out to another Bearcat legend, Juwan Briggs, 10 defensive stops on the season, 2 sacks. So shout out to the big fella there. Overall, I expect the Jets defense to not be as putrid as it was the first 5 weeks, expecting more of the last 2, and also maybe a little bit of a spark as you kind of inject some of this younger talent and better athletes into this defense and just give guys a chance. Keys to victory for the Bengals as they look ahead to the Jets here. You got to attack the corners opposite Sauce Gardner, challenge them, make them cover you all day. You have the weapons to be able to take advantage of that matchup. Continue with the quick passes, the quick time to attempt or time to throw for Joe Flacco. Help protect him, help protect the offensive line. And then obviously make sure you cover Breece Hall and make these wide receivers not named Garrett Wilson, if he's even playing, beat you. Make Allen Lazard beat you. Make Josh Reynolds beat you. That's how you're going to win this game. That's how your defense is going to be able to keep you out in front and not have the opposing offense nipping at your heels all game like they did the Steelers game. Thank you as always for watching and tuning in to Know Thy Enemy. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and tune in on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for State of the Jungle, where we cover all of the latest Bengals news. Thank you. Houday.